Alright guys, just in time for the Taken King, we are working on a very special prop. Now when I say we, I mean myself, Drac, and the rest of the Peach Dragon crew, which is currently cuddling, so that's kind of funny. But this is of course the Nightstalker Hunter class bow here. We still have a little bit of clay, but this is an oil-based clay that we have sculpted the bow out of. These pieces are symmetrical. Each piece represents a quarter of the bow, and this is 100% kind of floopy. This clay doesn't actually set. It doesn't cure with heat, nor light, nor air. It is designed exclusively for the sculpting of this project. Now we've tried a few different techniques. There's probably a good 5 hours of design and getting the form exactly where we want it, and eventually we settled on it just being okay that it's rough, and we're going to do our final finishing in our first cast. Now when I say cast, I mean yes, we are resin casting this bow. We think that that is the most interesting and exciting way to bring it to market as a full-fledged prop. So without any more talking about it, I'm going to start the casting process. Giannis is going to be building a Lego box, and I'll probably start by mixing up some silicone, so that'll be cool. Show you that next. So I fibbed. It's actually Erin of Peach Dragon that has decided to build the Lego box. She wanted to get to play with Legos, so she's going to be doing that. It will minimize the amount of silicone that we have to use in the mold while simultaneously giving us something that's completely goo tight. Not quite airtight, but definitely tight enough that the silicone will not escape as we're casting. Should give us plenty of time for a full cure, and then the added bonus is that when it comes time to take the mold apart, instead of having to break the mold, we can just pull the Lego pieces apart. Should be stupid proof. So as you can pretty clearly see here, we abandoned the Legos in favor of a much more timely and efficient mold pattern. So we have what is going to become a half box mold, which means that we will be pouring this is our Mold Star silicone rubber in after mixing it. This is parts 1 and 2 obviously, and then we'll fill it halfway. We'll make what's called a half box mold, so that we will then flip this over, rip the styrofoam off of the back end, or I guess it's poster board, and then after that the oil-based clay will reject the silicone, so we should have a perfect impression of this to fill with resin and make as many of these as we need. Again, each bow is a quarter piece. These will mirror, stick together, and then we will build a handle around them. So that should be pretty good by the time it's all said and done. I'll show you what it looks like once we've got the silicone in, and then we'll do a flip segment. So just like a two-part epoxy, we have compound B in a bowl. We're using bowls to measure our compound. We're going to do 2 bowls of each half because we think that this is a high volume cast. And if you thought that there was a form or reason to this entire hobby, you were wrong, because we are using disposable bowls. Oh yeah, embrace the swirl. So this is why there are 2 of us. While I'm working with our pot life on the silicone, Giannis is over here making sure that we have plenty of no stick. What kind of material are you using there, just for the viewers?
This is for this specific mold. It is Man Release Technologies Ease Release 200.
Okay,
it's a mold
and
release
it's
made for Mold Star.
Exactly. It's just a mold release, which is a fancy way of saying Pam. So just like your mom does with the brownies, this is making sure that this clay will come out clean. And then he's also got a hand brush so that we can make sure that it gets everywhere we need it to and capture all of our details. Now all we have to do is wait 6 hours or so for this stuff to fully cure. So we're about 5 hours into our cure time here. We've got a nice rubbery texture on the back end, which to me says that we are all good to go for some carving away of this foam. So I've started coming in, and I'm just slowly using my karambit to make this less of a pore area and more of an actual mold. So I'm going to do all of that, then by the time I'm done I'll give it another 30 minutes, we'll flip it and see what we've got to work with. So we gave it 8 hours just for good measure, but this giant floopy piece of silicone is in fact our negative mold for the Nightstalker bow. I've been coming in with my karambit and just slowly carving out the extra flash, because there are a few places like right here where it wants to not expose the cavity, and so we want to get in there, and you can see that the advantages of the clay are such that that just comes right out, and now we have an exact copy. Same thing over here, just pop this out and it pulls out. Might have to dig in just a little bit more, but we should have, once we finish cleaning it, a perfect mold to put our resin into, and we should have something pretty neat by the time it's all said and done. I love how these grooves and channels are really showing up, and then I'll carve this out as well so we have an actual handle there. But this is how it works. Hopefully it looks good by the time the next step goes in. I'll show you putting resin in. Dry mold. Resin that we'll be using is Smoothcast 326. Inspiration, Aaron. Lucky for me, Giannis has brought a quesadilla. Unlucky for me, I'm currently gloved up and working with compounds. This was B, this was A, this was mixed, and you can see that we have 1/4 of a bow already poured. I'm just going to use a completely separate pour and do the other half right now. About 30 minutes into the cure for this resin, we can tap it. You can see, but I'm not going to move it yet. I'm going to give it the full cure time of an hour. Patience is a virtue, friends. So the process of breaking the mold is just the absolute coolest, because once you get air underneath this, it goes from being clear like glass, and, well, you can see it really takes on some, I guess, depth and dimension. So I'll let Ian keep going over there, and I'll work on this one, and maybe we can together get one solid bow quarter out, and that's what we're working with. And man, that's actually very, very cool. Not quite made out of void light, but not too far off either. Now we get to pour it and do it again. Here, let's kind of tease them together, and definitely some finishing to go, but that is a void bow, or at least half of one. Very, very cool. Erin is crazy excited because she gets to use this with her costume. Looks pretty good. So after casting twice and doing a little bit of resin adhesion, this is what we have. I used resin as the glue so that it will look uniform, and we kind of keep that crystalline structure. I'm going to take it over to the Nerf workshop next, and we'll start working on the paint job. But as long as I've got both pieces, if I line it up right, I can give you a rough feel for how this is going to look right now. And that's it. That's our Nightstalker bow. Heavier than I thought it would be, but not so bad, and just an absolutely killer form factor to it. Really, really cool stuff. Doubles as daggers. And antlers. Really does it all. The Nightstalker bow by Destiny. Okay, so just to bring you up to speed, I took PVC, heated it, got it very nice and foopy, and then I inserted both ends of the Nightstalker bow into that, and then I gripped it with a glove. Always wear a glove if you're going to do something that crazy. Then after I gripped it with a glove, I poured ice cold water over that, so now it's more or less set. It's still a little bit warm, but very firm. The resin has had kind of an opportunity to bond to the bow, and then while it was still sort of warm, I came in and I drilled some pilot holes here so that it has the ability to sink some machine screws through, because I never want this coming apart again. So I'm going to go ahead and sink those in. You can see that they just barely are the right length. That is more or less intentional. We were guessing. I'm pleased to see that they work properly. And then I have a couple more of these. And one last one. Okay, so now we have a perfect handle for the Nightstalker bow. It is fitted to my hand, not the girl who will eventually be using it, but that's more or less okay because this is serving as the prototype for future ones as well. So that has been mechanically fastened. We're going to come in and chemically bond it as we shave a bunch of this away. Then I'll design a wrap for it, and then I get to do something really fun where I dust the purple enamel over this to give us that really cool void energy crystalline sort of look. But this I'm pretty happy with. I think that it's now very solid and going to be this level of straight for a very long time. I don't see it coming apart anytime soon. So that's that. I'll show you the next segment right after this. So you guys can see that I've got the Nightstalker bow hanging up at this point. I went ahead and shaped and fitted the handle and then filled the handle with resin after pinning it, so it's completely solid. This is a very, very sturdy prop, almost level of like functional, not quite want to put a draw on it or anything. And then I dusted that with black vinyl dye, so I'm going to bleed the crystal into that, and then I'm going to remove this tape, which is preventing the resin from sliding through the handle, and then I'll remove the tape, dust up, and then we'll start making it look like it's made of void magic. That should be really exciting. So hopefully I'm not blowing too much of the surprise here by showing it to you with my dusting. I ended up mixing red and blue and metallic enamels, so it's red, blue, and then a metallic flake to get this finish. But as you know and have seen on my channel before, I love making leather grips. They're actually inspired by archery grips, and so now I get to go full circle and put one of my pistol grips on a bow. All of my grips are cut to form, so it's just a slow whittling down of the leather, and I think I'm about where I want to be right now, and I think I even have the right color of leather thong that I want to do the racerback. In addition to making this look like a completely finished prop at this point, the leather grip will hide all of my machine screws, which should be very, very cool, as well as add comfort to whoever it is that is carrying this bow throughout the day using it as a prop. For my leather grips, I tool all of my holes by hand after lining them up and making little dots with Sharpie. Then I lace it by hand. I really like the color of this lacing. I think it matches well. Then I tied a square knot down in the bottom, and this is just a 2-part epoxy dot that's soaking in to this leather here, so that this should never come unraveled, or at least if it does come unraveled, it's going to have to break something serious. It changes the grip of this so that it's much, much more comfortable and disguises the fact that this is PVC. It now looks like this is more void light underneath this leather grip. It also helps that if you have adult-sized hands, the entirety of this grip will be covered by your hands in photo shoots. So should be a really, really fine piece. There's only one step left, and I'll let you guys guess what that is. Alright, so Aaron has yet to see this from Voidwalker to Hunter.
Yes.
Exciting.
It is awesome.
So what you wanted?
Yeah.
Perfect. I think that's all that matters, guys. So of course Erin has finally completed her hunter, and the Nightstalker bow I think fits right in with the rest of the costume. I love how it turned out. I love how your costume looks. The helmet is menacing. This is also the helmet from the new game content, and so it's a really, I guess, daring approach to try something that you had so little concept art on. So I love your hunter outfit. I love that my bow is getting used. And if you want to pick up a bow like this, the only way to get one of these that we will make for you is to go through the Peach Dragon props page on Facebook, because I can't handle any more commission inquiries through my original channel. So check us out there. Hope you enjoyed the bow. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.